We're not allowed off our boat.
I'm gonna try that way because it's cheaper.
I just cut little rectangles.
Try to just make it up as I go.
I'm secretly making donuts for Travis.
Oh, I totally forgot I'm filming myself with this dirty.
I'm Stephanie, and this is Travis. Together we bought a Hunter 42 Passage that we call Jibsea. We sold almost everything that we owned and moved aboard. After living on Jibsea through a Toronto winter, we decided that we had to get down south. Though we've got very little sailing experience, we decided to leave it all behind in our home country Canada to live out our dream in sailing the world. We're so pumped to share this adventure of a lifetime.
Well, Grenada's in a lockdown for the next 2 weekends, so I figured I'd take this time to do a project I've wanted to do for a little bit now, and it is the Dinghy Chaps.
So what Travis is referring to with the lockdown in Grenada is that recently there was a surge in COVID cases, and it started growing quite exponentially. So the Grenadian government, starting the beginning of September, imposed some restrictions. So we have things like 7 p.m. curfews every night. There's no dining in at restaurants. Beaches are even closed with the exception of exercise in the mornings from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Non-essential businesses have temporarily closed, and a big one that we were sad about is that we're not allowed to island hop to the sister islands. So we're not allowed to travel between Grenada and Carriacou and Petite Martinique. This weekend is the first no movement weekend, which means everyone's supposed to be staying in their homes and we're locked down for the weekend. Nothing's open and we're not allowed off our boat pretty much from 5 p.m. Friday all the way till Monday 5 a.m. So there's not much going on for us this weekend. We're stuck on the boat. I think we're allowed to swim around our boat as long as you're really close to your boat. That's about it. I am going to be doing a bunch of editing, and Travis is going to be working on the sewing projects.
Before the lockdown, we went and bought the material. At least the material I think I'll be able to get it done with. Got the dinghy on the deck. Gonna go measure it up and try to just make it up as I go. So let's see how it goes. Not sure if you can hear me. It's pretty windy out, but our fabric that we bought is 60 inches long. So I'm gonna use that as sort of a reference, seeing how far I can go up the tubes. Okay, so that gives me an idea of where our fabric's gonna make it up to, about here, which is pretty much perfect because the tube starts to curve here, and then that's when I'm gonna have to start working the fabric in pieces, and then kind of going up and around. Next, I'm gonna measure the tube diameter on how much coverage I'm gonna have. So I'm gonna go to the outside little rub strip. And what I'm gonna try to do is, most people, they stitch Velcro to a PVC and then they glue that onto the dinghy, and then you sew on the Velcro on the other side of the material, so then you can Velcro here. I'm gonna try a different method. I'm gonna try to tuck it in between the hull and the tube. Deflate the tubes, shove the material in, and then inflate the tubes again, and hopefully it'll pinch that fabric in. I'm gonna try that way because it's cheaper. Nice thing about trying it that way is if it doesn't work, I just go buy the Velcro and the PVC and then do it the way everyone else does it. But I'll give it a go this way first. 30 inches. The widest part of that tube was 30 inches, the widest. So my plan is to have all the pieces at 30 inches by 60 inches with a hemmed edge of 1 inch on either side. And then I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape on the outside edge, press down on the fabric, fold it over, mark out where all the handles and the oar outlets and all that kind of stuff are, cut those out, and then hem all the edges on those. And then I'll be able to really fold that material down to see where it ends up. And then because I'm going to have, the first piece is definitely the whole length at 60 inches, and then every other piece after that, all I need to do is just cut it down to the size I want for it to go around the tube. It'll already have a 1 inch hemmed edge, so it should be easy just to place it over the material, see where the seams line up, mark it out, cut it, and then sew them together. And just continue around the tube doing that. Let's try it. So what I have found with sewing any sort of canvas or fabrics, like outdoor fabrics, double-sided sticky tape is your friend. So obviously this one's a little too wide, so I'm gonna cut it down in half. So I'm using double-sided sticky tape and I'm putting it on the edges around where I'm gonna be cutting out, so I can at least get the fabric nice and tight. Type it, mark it, cut it, and then go around. I just don't know how I'm gonna do the cutout yet, but this is my plan for the moment. Making it up as I go. So there's a lot of little curved edges I gotta cut around, and instead of folding in and hemming the edge, I can't do that in a lot of these pieces just because I didn't really cut it that right. I just kind of cut. But I want to put a hemmed edge on it so it doesn't fray. So on some things you can actually go buy like a hemmed edge and then you just sew that hemmed edge over like a plain edge. So I have to make hemmed edges. So I have to take fabric, fold in the edges, sew them, and then fold it around just like the solid edge of the fabric, so then it creates like a little hemmed edge, so it's folded over. So much more work. We got day 2 with the Dinghy Chaps. Coming along quite nicely. The port tube and the starboard tube sort of done. Well, they're not done. They're about 90% done. I need to put patches around all the handles and the oars and the oar holders. We're gonna hem the bottom edge, cut out a couple other little things. I feel like the material I bought was a bit too cheap. Like, I feel like this stuff's only gonna last like 6 months. But if that's the case, then I can go buy like Sunbrella. They just don't have Sunbrella here. But this would be a good mock-up sort of chaps if I decide to do Sunbrella. But something to do, and didn't cost all that much. Made the port tube, made the starboard tube, and then the conjoining piece I'm gonna pull pretty tight so that it wraps the corner around. Nothing's really tight right now. Like, hopefully when I'm done, everything will be like nice and tight. So I sewed up a bunch of these little patches. Just hemmed all the edges in. These are for the handles. So what I'm gonna do, as you can see,
I just cut little rectangles for where the handles go through.
and then I'm gonna put patch over it, and then cut the patch perfectly to then fold the edges and then hem the edges. Here it is, showing the port side to the starboard side, and then it's one piece, and then we're whoops, camera fell. Figure out how I'm gonna strap it to the boat. So I ran out of material to put a patch around these, but I think the handles are where you want extra material. The oars just kind of block this anyways. Came out all right. Now I just need to figure out how I'm going to attach it. On the outside, I'm just going to drill through this little rub strip and then put a string and then tie a little knot so it holds it tight. On the inside, I might be able to get away with just tucking that in. That might hold. But in the front here, I'm not sure. I might have to go right down to here. If this material holds up really well, then maybe I'll do Velcro on the inside of the dinghy, and then I'll just sew Velcro to the canvas, and that should work. But it's not too bad. 3 freaking days. There's a lot of imperfections that I'm not happy with, but I kind of stopped caring a little bit because once I realized the material is kind of cheap and like it might only last 6 months to a year, I kind of was like, screw it. Just sew it together, make it look half decent. That'll help protect it. If I were to do this with really expensive Sunbrella, I probably would have taken my time a little bit more and then made sure all my like seams and hemmed edges were nice. But yeah, she'll do the trick, and she's pretty clean. It's not like horrible, I don't think. What do you think?
I think it looks really good.
You're just saying that because you're on camera?
No, I think you did a really good job. Good job, Bear.
I think it's an okay job.
It's good for $50 and some frustration. This looks really good.
For never doing it before, I would probably do a couple things a little differently on the next, but I don't. Obviously, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it again.
This looks really good, though. It actually looks good.
At least it's somewhat smooth.
Yeah.
I still gotta tighten the backs down. I get to finally install these Dinghy Chaps. They're all sewn up. Everything's good. So how I'm attaching the outside edge is I've just drilled a hole through the rub rail and then I tie a knot. I'll obviously cut all the ropes down, little pieces of string once I'm done, so it's clean. And then you shouldn't notice anything's there. This is just the excess rope. I might cut it off, but I just want to make sure the knot in the bottom gets tight in case I need to do any adjustments in the next couple of days. Came out pretty good. Surprised myself a little bit. Nice and tight. Oh, I totally forgot I'm filming myself with this dirty mustache and little goatee thing going on here. Well. Steph wants me to remove it should I keep it or remove it? Grow it real long. I've never grown facial hair before, so it's kind of funny. I made a nice gas can holder, nice and tight, doesn't go anywhere. And it's super easy to remove.
Gonna take the dinghy out with the brand new chaps, and we're gonna go find some internet so I can upload some videos. Just gotta redo the engine cover.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little bit more of this material to cover the gas cans and our generator. And then I'll get some to redo that guy, and it can all fade at the same time.
Looking spiffy!
Yeah, see how long she lasts.
Those are homemade dinghy chaps too.
Thank you, Ray.
I think yours looks pretty clean. Hope they stay that way. Our little dink.
We had extra Sunbrella on board from when we bought the material back in Canada, and Travis had sewn our sail sack. It wasn't enough to make the dinghy chaps though, so while he was on a sewing frenzy, he also made this rectangular pouch. We never knew where to store our instrument covers when sailing, and usually just tossed them to the side. Now they're stowed away discreetly on the steering column, a perfect spot. Another simple canvas creation that he made are these little pouches to hold our cell phones with a slot to rest our sunnies. There's one on both sides of our cup holder, one for each of us. And lastly, he whipped up this cup that we place in our slotted cup holder for small quick grab things, because before, things would just fall through. Nothing complex, but these simple little things have been so convenient and helpful in our day-to-day. So I'm secretly making donuts for Travis because he did such a good job on the Dinghy Chaps. I haven't made these since we were back in the Bahamas, and hopefully they turn out good.
It's for doing an alright job on the chaps.
Hey, you just said for doing a good job.
We're doing an alright job on the chaps.
Well, it looks like an alright job donut. Just kidding. Looks good. There you go.
Welcome. Look, sprinkles and everything.
Yeah. That's what you wanted the sprinkles for, right?
Yeah, to make things all pretty. Good job, Bear. Oh gosh, sprinkles on your face.
No, I'm just gonna hang out here till we're done.
Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
The balls were a hit.
You like the balls?
Yeah, they're good balls. Ah, stupid box milk.
Did you say thank you? I just said you're welcome.
I just said thanks twice.
Oh, you're welcome, Ted.
You're very sweet.
Look at your nipple.